Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Your Disabled Joy. My name is Nico Meyering, and I use he, him pronouns. I'm a white man with parted blonde hair, a large black headset, large brown and blue spectacles, and a orange, blue, and white checkered button-up shirt. I'm seated in front of a white background, and like about 25% of the US population, I'm disabled. Non-disabled people might see our lives as tragic, pitiful, sad, but I don't know, guys. I've been disabled a pretty long time now, and I think there's also room for disabled joy. Our disabled community has as many members as it has opinions, which is why I've asked my friend Lauren here with me today to talk about disabled joy. Hi, Lauren. How are you doing?
Hi, Nico. I'm so good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Lauren, can you describe a moment of joy for us? It could have to do with your disability, or it could be totally separate. Both are valid.
Sure. So, first, hi, my name is Lauren Proby. My pronouns are she, her. I am a young African American woman with long black box braids and dark purple glasses, and I am wearing an orange dress with yellow and white flowers, and my background is a dorm room, and I'm sitting in a chair. And sharing a joyful memory. So, the first thing that came to my mind was my childhood because my mom, she signed me and my older brother up for so many different activities. And even though I was scared to go because I was anxious around people, they were still really cool experiences. So, specifically, one time when I was 12, I went to an aviation camp, and it was a day where everybody got to fly an airplane, like being accompanied by a pilot. But like we got to fly an airplane, and that was definitely a cool experience and something that I won't forget. And just the to be able to do it on my own, and also, with the support of someone else, it was a really cool experience. And also, how many people get to say that they flew an airplane at 12 years old? So that was cool.
That sounds really awesome. It's fantastic that your mom signed you and your brother up for all these cool things, like flying airplanes. You're right. Not many
Yes.
12-year-olds can probably say that. Thank you. That was a wonderful story to hear. So, how has your disability impacted how you pursue your own joy or to pursue happiness in your own life?
So I feel like for me, being a disabled person has taught me about the meaning of true community and the joy of being a part of it. When I think about community, it's so many different types of communities, but sometimes when people need help or ask for help or need to lean on that community, they may not understand how to support that person. So I feel like the beautiful thing about the disability community is that we allow each other to be our disabled selves. And, I think that's very powerful. So finding power in resilience, but also caring for each other. I think that has taught me a lot about joy and a lot about happiness and a lot about support and kindness and what that really means and how even the disability community has grown so much and is focused on intergenerational advocacy and support, and it's a good time to be disabled. And I feel like also when I think about even so people like Judy Human, she was someone who believed and really advocated for intergenerational activism. And it is just such a beautiful experience to be able to learn from disabled icons who come before all of us, whether or not you have the same type of disability. And I also feel like being disabled has made me a more creative person because I have had to find ways to adapt and be flexible. And as the world is changing, disabled people have to change too because we always have to find new ways to have our needs met. So I think that as well has sort of impacted my pursuit of joy.
Lauren, thank you so much. That was a beautiful answer. As someone who recently turned 35 and is now older than he ever thought he would be, intergenerational advocacy is both an opportunity and a challenge. So I appreciate what you said about that. Thank you so much. What would you like the rest of the world to know about disabled life or about disabled quality of life?
I feel like you said in the beginning, it's not all despair, it's not all sadness, it's not, you know, we're not mourning anything. I think when I think about how the social model of disability comes into this conversation as well, you know, me as a person with disabilities, I'm not upset because of my identities. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud to be who I am. I feel like the reason why it's difficult is because of the certain barriers and institutional ableism that is put into place or that exists in this world. And that is what is difficult. And so, me as a disabled person myself, I'm happy with who I am. And I am learning to find joy in existing exactly as the person that I am and how I show up. And I think a lot of times what I want people to know is that people with disabilities, we don't need to change. We don't need to change unless we want to. Because I also think about people who may have certain disabilities or chronic things like chronic illnesses that they may want to cure because it's painful for them. But a lot of other disabled people, like autistic people, for example, we don't want to find a cure for our disability and we're happy with who we are. And then there's people who exist in the middle who is like, yes, I want to find a cure, but I also love who I am at this moment. And I think non-disabled people who may not be in community and in spaces with people with disabilities may think like, oh, this person, even things like wheelchair bound or just this language that is used to talk about people with disabilities and disabled people. And it's like, no, we don't feel that way. We don't feel that way. And if you step into a disability community, it is full of joy and people will welcome you and people will tell you their stories. And you will see that people have pride in who they are. And it's a wonderful thing. So definitely what you said is it's not all despair and sadness and mourning. We mourn the ways that we're treated and the reasons that we have to heal. But if the world was a better place, a more inclusive place, we wouldn't always have to do that. So I think also I wish disabled people and non-disabled people that we work together more and that we communicated with each other more and that we understood each other more because it can sometimes feel disconnected and that doesn't benefit anybody.
That's true. Thank you so much, Lauren. That better world that we want, that's what we're working for bit by bit. Rome wasn't built in a day, but I bet they lay bricks every hour.
Yes.
Lauren, thank you so much. Rarely do these conversations dive into like the social model of disability or discussing things like that. For audience members, a social model of disability broadly says that it's the external environment that disables us. Consider someone with a limb difference, right? Someone with a limb difference that can afford like a cool prosthetic. That's great. And compare that to somebody who might not be able to afford that, who would then have to deal with adaptive clothing, maybe use a wheelchair to get around, depending upon the limb difference in question. This is kind of what the social model gets at. Thank you, Lauren, for talking about it. My last planned question is one that I ask all my interviewees, regardless of project. So, is there a recent win that you're celebrating, Lauren, that you want to name so we can celebrate with you? Or
Yeah.
if not, what cool things are you doing? What projects are you involved in? If you're open to like connecting with people, where can people find you online? This is your chance to be your own cheerleader, to promote yourself, to brag. So go ahead, step up on that soapbox. Let's hear it.
Thank you so much. So I am very proud of myself because I feel like in general, it's these things and certain opportunities that I've gotten that I'm so thankful for and I'm so happy to have. And then people are like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. But I think the thing that I'm most proud of is living independently and taking care of myself and navigating the community. So recently I started an internship in Washington, D.C. and I learned how to take public transportation. I learned how to take the metro and going to the grocery store, going shopping. doing events with the community, learning about the history of the community, getting from one place to another place safely, and from point B to point A again. Just living independently is something that I'm so proud of, because I feel like in the past, and even as we celebrate things like Olmstead and independent living for people with disabilities, it's been a question about, you know, can I live independently? Can I be able to sustain myself and take care of myself? And it's like, well, yes, I can, because I'm doing it right now. So I'm so proud of myself. And that is definitely a win that I celebrate every day. But I'm also very thankful for the support of the disability community as well, because it's just amazing. It's a great time, but that is definitely something that I'm proud of. And as far as cool projects that I'm working on, so I separated this into personally and professionally. So personally, I started to learn how to crochet because I went to my local library's crochet club, which is amazing. And I have been working on crocheting a blanket, and it's pink because pink is my favorite color. So yes, that is definitely a really nice project that I'm working on. And I would say professionally, I am a part of a research team in partnership with Children's National Hospital and the National Institutes of Health. And we're working on a survey called the SAT, which is the Self-Assessment of Autistic Traits. And it's basically a clinical survey that focuses on the inner experiences of autistic people, because a lot of times, a lot of autism surveys focus on autism from a very medicalized perspective and do not think about how autistic people describe ourselves in the language that we use to describe our own experiences. And so yes, I'm a researcher, and I sort of bring my personal and professional experiences as an autistic person, but also working for different disability organizations to that space. And it's been really great to even learn about, clinical terminology, but also how can this be inclusive to people with disabilities, and how can this honor how autistic people see ourselves, and especially autistic people who have mostly marginalized identities. How can this be interpreted? So that's been a really cool experience. And as for connecting with me, I do not have Instagram or Twitter, but I do post on LinkedIn different wins that I've had. Like I posted about my internship. So if you do want to follow along, it's just my first and last name, Lauren Proby. And yeah, yes.
Lauren, thank you so much. Thank you for helping to design the SAAT. I think that will come in massive, massive handy down the line. It's so exciting hearing about what you're doing. Thank you for taking this time with me.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Audience, tune in next time. And remember, I'm rooting for you.